Hey, what's going on guys? This is NGS and welcome back to another video. This is actually going to be my very first video on YouTube uploaded in 60 frames per second. A while back, Google announced that YouTube would be getting 60 FPS support, and now they finally implemented that update. So this is kind of a test to see if the quality is a lot smoother. Let me know down below in the comment section why I'm acting like Mr. Mime up in this bitch. Hell yeah. Now onto the main video. For the longest time, a lot of you guys have wanted me to discuss the newest Dragon Ball Z game that is actually not too far away as of the recording of this video, and that is Dragon Ball Z Xenoverse. Namco Bandai announced a couple months ago that this game would be releasing on PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and debuting for the very first time. Dragon Ball is coming to the PS4, Xbox One, and complete shocker to everybody, PC via the Steam platform. So if you own any console out there, save for the Wii U, you're gonna get a chance to play Dragon Ball Xenoverse. So that is freaking cool. Kudos to them for putting it out and everything. I know people have issues with cross-generational games, but for an anime title, I don't think it's gonna be that big a deal in the very beginning. So moving on to the actual game. We really didn't know much about the game outside of the fact that it's gonna be the first, well, current gen Dragon Ball Z game, and the developer. DIMS, as you guys know, the developer behind the fantastic Budokai series. Budokai 3 being one of my personal favorite games in the series. In my opinion, Budokai 3, in addition to Raging Blast 2, were the most competitive Dragon Ball games that I've ever played. I know a lot of people are going to say, yeah, Tenkaichi was awesome too. Tenkaichi 3 was great as well, but I just, for some reason, preferred Raging Blast over that, ironically. But that's beside the point. Dragon Ball Xenoverse, on the other hand, it's been making a lot of press recently for anime fans. A lot of people were quick to dismiss it as just another Dragon Ball Z game, which for the most part, a lot of them come off as. But there was something about this game that was really interesting. First and foremost, DIMS is back in control. DIMS, the guys behind Budokai 3. So that got me kind of happy. I was like, wow, DIMS rarely lets me down, and by rarely, I mean rarely. I saw what they did in Freedom Wars with Sony, that shit was hype. So I was thinking to myself, this actually might be good. And the more and more time went on, we saw development updates of the game, I actually got excited. So first and foremost, with DIMS being back in control, we have what I think is something that Namco Bandai has really been working on for the past couple of years. As you guys know, it's a really long-running feud between Dragon Ball fans on what is the perfect Dragon Ball Z game. You have a lot of people clamoring towards the OG Budokai games, then you have a lot of people who favor Tenkaichi, you had some people who liked Ultimate Tenkaichi, Raging Blast. You know, there's just so many different games out there that appeal to so many gamers. And to be honest, there really isn't one definitive Dragon Ball Z game. It all just depends on what your preference is. There are really great Dragon Ball Z games, and there are really crappy Dragon Ball Z games. But in the situation that we have now, I think what Namco Bandai has really been doing over the past couple of years is listening to a lot of the fan feedback. Fan feedback has been something that we've been seeing them ask more and more as the years went on. They kept asking, you know, what do you guys want to see in the next Dragon Ball Z game? Let us know. And as time went on, in more of the games that released, we saw a lot of the things that people wanted. First and foremost, we saw online play when they introduced that in, I believe it was Tenkaichi 2 on the Wii and PS2. They introduced that there. And as time went on, we got more games. They introduced character creator in Dragon Ball Ultimate Tenkaichi. Granted, the character creation in that game was severely limited, but it was a step in the right direction. A lot of people were asking for cooperative play. Since, you know, Dragon Ball Sagas doesn't exist. We got that in Dragon Ball Z Battle Z, which is essentially a console port of Zenkai Battle Royale, for the most part. They've got some changes, obviously. But yeah, that was more about co-op play and playing with your friends and getting together with very smooth online. We see that they've been making all of these, you know, strides towards making a better game. Now I think that's what we have in Dragon Ball Xenoverse. They're really combining all the things that worked and taking away all the things that didn't work. Like, for example, a lot of people weren't a fan of the rock, paper, scissors style in Ultimate Tenkaichi, just like a lot of people weren't a fan of the simplicity that was Battle of Z. So when we see that they're combining the co-op play from Battle of Z with the character creation from Ultimate Tenkaichi, I think what we have in our hands is probably one of the most important Dragon Ball Z games to be released. And what I mean by that is this is the game that for the most part people have been looking forward to for a very, very, very long time. And I do not say that lightly. Everybody and their dog has been clamoring for all of these things in one, and for the most part they've checked off things off people's Ultimate Dragon Ball Z fan wish list, which is pretty cool because you can definitely see that they are actively listening to the fan base. And one thing I think that we do miss when we were talking about games like Dragon Ball Z and such is that these are anime licensed games. Licensed games really don't tend to have a big budget. There's something that really has to be put out on an annual basis to keep up with contracts from the studios and such. So if you're looking at those kind of games, obviously they don't have as much flexibility to work on them as, say, let's say Batman Arkham City, Arkham Asylum, Arkham Knight. You get what I'm saying? Those games have multiple year development cycles where they take their time and work on them. That's something I think we all miss with Dragon Ball Z and Naruto. It's because they have to be put out on this annual basis. They just don't have that time. Me personally, as you guys know, if I would take my time, I would spend years working on a Dragon Ball Z game or years working on a Naruto game so I could fine tune it and it'd be awesome. But in the case of Dragon Ball Z, they've actually listened and slowed down on the video games. If you've noticed, we really haven't been getting too many of them. I mean, after the release of, what was it, Ultimate Tenkaichi, really we didn't get a main Dragon Ball Z game until Battle of Z. Because since Ultimate Tenkaichi, all we had was DBZ for Connect, the HD collection, Battle of Z, and now Xenoverse in 2015. So they're definitely taking their time and they're taking your feedback into consideration. So that's what I want to say as far as the development for the game goes. I'm really liking what I'm seeing on that front. Character creation looks really good for the most part. You can finally create Black Saiyans, and I'm not trying to make this a race thing, but yo, man, we finally made it. Nigga, we made it, we made it. Enough of that. That damn niggatry. But yeah, character creation looks pretty cool. Moving on to something more recent where we actually got a chance to test out the game in the form of the Dragon Ball Xenoverse network test, alpha, beta, whatever you want to call it. Now, I really didn't get a chance to spend too much time with this, mainly because that particular weekend I was swamped with my job and I couldn't really connect to the game for the most part. It was definitely a network test for a reason. I do not use that term lightly because there were connection issues going on, there were server problems and such, which is to be expected. So on one hand, I'm very glad that they were taking the time to stress this stuff, because Xenoverse is looking like it's going to be a very online focused game in terms of the online fighting. It's not necessarily going to be you and your friends get together in the traditional fighting game sense. They've got a whole room crafted for you guys to run around and chill. I forgot the name of the city, but it's definitely something similar to Destiny in that respect, where you have a hub for you to go around. It's kind of MMO in that respect, but not really full-blown. You can run around everywhere. They have missions where you're able to take on and fight other people and fight with your friends and such. But one thing that really got me when I was playing the network test is I didn't really know what to do for the most part. There was really no training to my recollection, my knowledge. You just kind of were thrown in there and it's like, yeah, learn the combat. Now, like I said, I only got a chance to play the network test for like an hour, maybe 2 hours at the most because of my situation. So maybe there was a training thing going on in there. I don't know. But regardless of that, I want to talk about the gameplay from what I've played. And to be honest, I'm kind of mixed about it. Like I said, I didn't get a chance to play much of it, but to me it seemed like it was running kind of on the sluggish, slow side. I was wondering where all the combos were, because I was trying to do combos and it was like not functioning well. I don't know if this was considering that it was the network test that was the problem, or it was just there aren't really any combos. But I really didn't get a feel for the fighting much, and the controls were kind of weird, and the gameplay really felt more like Battle of Z on steroids. That's what I honestly felt it was. It was like a more refined Battle of Z in terms of the co-op play and such, but I just really wasn't feeling the gameplay. I didn't really see much of the combos going on. Like I said, that was probably just my inexperience of not playing the game much to realize how deep it was, maybe. Then again, Dimps did say that they are taking our feedback into consideration when it comes to this game. They are going to be fine-tuning things up until the release of the title. Maybe as more people voice their concerns about the gameplay, it might change in the final form. That's what I was a bit worried about when I was playing the game. It just felt like Battle of Z on crack. That's what it was. And while Battle of Z was a fun co-op game, it just was not a good fighting game. It's an arcade game for a reason, you get what I'm saying? Those were really my thoughts on Dragon Ball Xenoverse. It was more like a rambling type video because it's hard for me to speak much on the game gameplay wise because I haven't played it, and I don't want to go the generic route of saying, oh yeah, the fights look good, because we can say that about any anime video games. The fights look good. Hopefully in the future they'll release another network test, hopefully something that's closer to the game's release, so we can actually get a better idea of the game and how it's performing when we pick up the final product. I would hope they would do that, and maybe I'll do an updated video. But at the time of this recording, I can't say much about the actual gameplay, but I'm really loving how smooth the co-op was. Like, there were really no disconnects when I was playing with my friends. You know, there were no problems in that situation. My main problem is that it just didn't feel, you know, refined. But like I said, it was a network test for a reason. Hopefully the final product's better. What did you guys think about Dragon Ball Xenoverse? Post it down below. And also just posted to my gameplay channel, New Game Spark 2. I started a new web series. Go check that out. You can check it out right here on the screen. Links down below in the video description if you're watching it on mobile. For me, for now, I'm GS signing out, and like always, I will catch you guys later. Peace.